Well, as Bernard so right, that tragically the first time is through a sudden death that occurs. And it was here, I will show Alison Cox. And Alison was just retired from CRY, was the first person who came to me and said, we need to change the whole attitude towards sudden death within the United Kingdom. The families are not getting the correct service. They're not getting a thorough investigation of what are the causes of sudden cardiac death. So CRY sponsored a specific laboratory that will handle the hearts that come. And also with the coroners, very important. Here's our chief coroner. He got on board as well because the coroner decides who has an autopsy and who does not have an autopsy. And we're very lucky that in the United Kingdom, anybody who dies suddenly has to have an autopsy. So with that and with the help of CRY, we set up this laboratory. You all in the audience know about young sudden cardiac death. You need expert cardiac pathology. You do need it because there are subtle changes, there are subtle diagnoses that have to be made. So it's a multidisciplinary group that are going to be approaching the family with screening and genetic testing. And here's the team. Joe is in the audience and members of my staff as well with technical staff. And what's important, we can process the hearts very quickly. We can get them quickly and give a report within 2 weeks to the coroner, to the pathologist who refers it, and to the family. That's important. We have a database also sponsored by CRY that gives everything that we know about the individual cases, including previous histories, previous ECGs that have then the cardiology team have access to. And we have this database of which we built up 8,000 hearts, the biggest database in the world on cardiac pathology, really. And because of that, why? Because we get the heart sent to us. We try, in the majority of cases, we tell the pathologist and the coroner, send us the heart with the consent of the family. But in addition to getting the heart, we get a bit of spleen, small bit of spleen, because that is rich in DNA. Blood we don't use, DNA we can extract from fresh spleen, which is sent with the heart. And this shows from the 90s, from when I first got involved in cardiac pathology, the increase in our referral pattern, a bit of a dip there during the pandemic, but even this year, we're exceeding what we did last year. And the blue is the genetic sample. In other words, from 2013 onwards, pathologists started sending genetic material with the hearts. So again, the database is vitally important from throughout the United Kingdom. And here we've now published showing that sudden arrhythmic death and cardiomyopathies predominate as the causes of sudden young death in the United Kingdom. Here are our criteria that we've set down, also with our European colleagues as well, to tell pathologists, how do you make the diagnosis? Because we are the first people. We deal with the death, the phenotype that is responsible for that sudden cardiac death. And tragically, as you're well aware, this is the age group of our sudden deaths, very young to very old, but it's really in the prime of life. As Sanjay would say, Michael would say, people in their teenage years, 20s, 30s and 40s predominate. Here, SADS again predominates. Over 50% cardiomyopathies come second, and the other unusual causes then going on. But ischemic still is there, but obviously not representative of the population. Again, males predominate in blue. In all conditions, males predominate. Number 2, sudden deaths occur in the over 35s as well as the under 35s, but SADS, young people predominate, whereas in the cardiomyopathies, older phenotype expression in older individuals. And you can see this where SADS again in the under 35s, but lessen in the over 35s, where cardiomyopathies come more into the fore in the older age group. And you can see here in green the SADS and in yellow the cardiomyopathies, and the variation in pathological studies throughout the world on the incidences of sudden arrhythmic death and cardiomyopathies. And we think this is due to the population studies and the numbers that are studies and the age groups that are also studies. What about the cardiomyopathies? Well, what we see in our predominant cardiomyopathy is idiopathic hypertrophy. That's where there's an enlarged, thickened heart, but we don't have disarray. We don't have a metabolic. We don't know what the cause of this hypertrophied heart is. There's no hypertension. There's no diabetes. Number 2, arrhythmogenic cardiomyopathy. We're getting that to predominate compared to hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. The dilated is number 3. And what Joe will talk about, obesity cardiomyopathy. So this is interesting where the spectrum of what cardiomyopathy is causing sudden death in our UK population have changed. Here's dilated cardiomyopathy. Here's hypertrophic above with myocyte disarray. Here's idiopathic hypertrophy, looking exactly the same as HOCM, but no myocyte disarray. Here's arrhythmogenic, again, sudden death and left ventricular involvement. It's now we have found in our experience a biventricular disease with both right and left involvement. And here's an example classically of right-sided of the septum, and look, the fat and fibrosis infiltrating the left ventricle. That's the most common type. Histology, though, is essential for diagnosis. And again, throughout, we get visitors from all over. We train a lot of pathologists who come to us for training, who look at these hearts. We get 10 to 12 hearts per week. So pathologists come and train and see all these different conditions. And we also do an annual course, even in this hospital every year, where pathologists, both forensic and general, come to train with us. In addition, from this database, and that's very important, publications have come. Here's all the publications. Won't bore you with them, but it shows the value of a good pathology base, but only doing it in association with our cardiological colleagues, our imaging colleagues, genetics, toxicology as well. And here, sudden death in sports, we've built up a database. And here are all the papers that have come from this database. It shows the value of pathology, shows the value of centralizing it, expert opinion, in correlation with our cardiology colleagues. So you can see even from this year, 2023, the papers we have produced. And again, I want to acknowledge the whole team, both CRY, the cardiology teams, the other pathologists from throughout the United Kingdom who referred to us, because we could not have built this up without help from everybody. But I have to thank CRY for putting its confidence and its funding into cardiac pathology. Thank you very much.